I'm a little bit annoyed because I just recorded a 30-minute video and my microphone was muted. So, here's for take number two. There are many things that are going on this time of this year in general. All the riots, the COVID, and a couple of things. But let's just talk about the riots and the COVID a little bit. Or family in general. Things we have similar. Think about things that we have similar. Like in terms of the black community and the redneck community. We have more common than we have in differences. Many things. We both have problems with the police. We don't want to get involved with them. We think they have too much control than they should have. Yet they do. We both have problems with money, with things that should and shouldn't be allowed. Problems with our families. What goes on and with the amount of money we bring into our families. I recently got into an altercation with my brother. We It was about something silly, something that shouldn't even been yelled about, but was. Stress mounting upon stress upon stress, just compounding upon each other. It didn't help anything. It helped relieve a lot of stress from both of us, but we made up for it. We made up to each other for it. There are many things that are similar between, well, rednecks and, and ghettos, essentially. Low income communities, pretty much. We both don't really like the government or police in general, but there are plenty of good police. Place I work, I sling pizzas all day, every day, all day, every day. But there's some that go too far in what they do. They just try to have control. But the ones that we do have in contact with are nice. They don't take it too far. I live in a small town, Nebraska, so it's not bad per se. It's more people we have to deal with as workers at a Casey's, which is a pizza place that so happens to sell gas. So it's a gas station that makes pizzas, but they want to say it the other way around because that's what it started as. So dealing with difficult customers and whatnot. So we have our fair share of drugs and police officers to deal with in those situations, and our one would say questionably legal actions as it pertains for our lives and what we have to do and what we need to do. There are many times where take the legal aspect out of it. There are many times when we need to take needed actions over wanted actions. Recently, I've been taking more needed actions because certain things were said. So when I was wanting to do more wanted options. So to relax, take a break between work and being home. I live at home. I do maintenance on the home and the yard and whatnot. So as you can see from the video, if you're watching the video, there are some boxes in the background. It's because this is the office. I wish it looked better. It doesn't. It would come to something that I need to do. Since I'm doing a lot of things outside, I don't really want to do anything else, but I know that I need to do it. I'm having difficulty putting up the want to do something that I need to do, rather than just doing what I really want to do, which is just chill between working outside and working at a pizza place, essentially, that sells gas. Pizza place that sells gas. Go figure. I don't get paid a whole lot, but I get paid enough. Anyway, between the black and the redneck community, which basically the lower incomes of the in city and out of city environments, we do what we need to do and what we have to do and what we want to do. Like taking a break from doing what we need to do, even though we know that we need to do certain things. But just comes to the point of doing the things that we need to do. Building up the want to do what we need to do. I may sound like I'm repeating myself, I probably am. But it is a constant. It is something that generally needs to be talked about. People do what they need to do. People do what they want to do. People do what they want to do more than they need to do. People that do they need to do less than they want to do. That becomes a big old problem. How do we come up with the want to do what we need to do? Is it being forced into a certain situation to where that want, that need becomes a want, and the want becomes less of a need? We need less of what we want to do and more of what we need to do. That is preferable, but nonetheless, that is the question. I want to do more than I need, to do more that I need to do. I seem more preoccupied with doing what I want more than I need, more than the things that I need to do. I try to make a schedule. Put a schedule up. Pay attention to the schedule I have for work. I make a schedule for home, which is where I live. I try to relax when I can, but more often than not, I tend to do it more when I want. It's like I need to do more yard work, but I do. I do the yard work, but it's more been it's sporadic really. Recently, I've been doing more yard work than I do, but it's only because it was an ultimatum brought to me by my parents, which is reasonable. I didn't do anything for a good couple of weeks while they were on vacation. So I can understand why they'd be a little bit pissed that I didn't do anything. It's like, hey, they're on vacation. Why not take a little vacation on my own? So I did. And it didn't go over too well. And I hadn't been working as much as I need to. So let's get back to the other matter. The whole riots and police versus Black Lives Matter slash Antifa because they joined forces for better or for worse, depending on your point of view. So when those two work together, it winds up being worse than it is better. Black Lives Matter is questionable, but Antifa, mm, they go a little bit too far. Yeah, Black Lives Matter has been working with Antifa since I think after the creator of the movement tried to accuse the dean of his college that he tried to run him over in a parking lot. When there was video showing that he didn't do that, it was very clear that he was going slowly, very slowly, just enough so that it's like 1 mile per hour, if that. The dude was going so dang slow that it was inconceivable that anyone could possibly be hurt unless they decided to not move a centimeter from where they were standing. It was like he's trying to leave the fucking parking lot so he can go home to his family, freaking off work, and these kids are stopping him from doing so. So he's just going forward very, very slowly. So slowly that the video took 5 minutes to get out of his parking stall. Just out of his parking stall. That's regardless. The whole Black Lives Matter, that makes sense. There are too many black people being killed by police officers. Understand that. Perfectly understandable why people would be pissed off at that. But the creator of the movement is not really a trustful person, especially with the first incidents of so-called racism that he has. Well, first video recorded racism that he has, which is someone taking 5 minutes to get out of a parking stall, one parking stall, and then people crying afterwards. It's like, oh my god, he almost ran us over. It's like, are you high? Like that's something you would ask here in Nebraska, across from a trailer park. It's like, there's a reason Platt's Mouth was called Platt's Meth for quite a while. It is because of shit like that. Sorry, because of stuff like that. That Platt's Mouth was called Platt's Meth. There was a lot of meth labs that were busted here. Eee. That's the kind of stuff that they would say. And it was ridiculous. And that happened in the 90s. People still call it Platt's Meth. Most because that's how we pronounce it. But people overpronounce the meth part of it now. Now, to the point where it's become a meme or just a joke that only locals would understand. Platt Smith. He's like, yeah, we're all methods here. He's like, no, what? No. It's ridiculous, but still is very fucking true. So the real problem. Let's talk about the people that aren't paying attention to the mask thing that we got going on. It's like people need to be wearing masks. Like people around the world are going, "Hey, we should wear masks so we don't get other people sick, so we don't keep spreading this." That makes sense. It's like people in America are like, "Oh, Karens is like, oh, fuck you, f you." Let's keep spreading it. Let's give it to more people that have it. The sooner it'll be gone. The thing is, more people that have it, the more people that will die. My little brother, he has cystic fibrosis. It is a lung disease that makes him have to take a breathing treatment and a percussion treatment to break up the mucus that builds up in his lungs naturally. It is a genetic disease. It causes severe, it does multiple problems that can become severe, such as excess buildup of mucus in the lungs. So he has to take breathing medication and he has to use a breathing machine in the morning, at noon, and at night. He has to use a percussion training machine that uses air pressure, pulsating air pressure, to vibrate his body to break up the mucus so that he can cough it out. If he gets this, if people like him get this, they have to go to the hospital and have to be intubated. There is there is only a few there isn't very many cases where they not have to, since they are also susceptible to illness. It affects their ability to metabolize food. It affects their breathing. It affects their immune system. That's the main parts of it. And much of the time, people who have C. diff get type 2 diabetes. Like right now, my brother was just diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and he's skinny. Usually it's just fat people that get type 2 diabetes. I'm fat. I don't have diabetes. I'm 26. He's 17. And he's had to have some laxatives in soda, which has a lot of sugar, since he was little. And I've been drinking soda like it's water since I was his age, since I was in middle school. He has type 2 diabetes, and I don't. He is susceptible to these illnesses. People like him are susceptible to these illnesses. Come on. That's ridiculous. But then it's like comparing apples to oranges. People like me are resistant to these kind of illnesses, resistant to pretty much most illnesses. We go through the flu like it's nothing. Oh, it's just the runs. Oh well, I'll get over it, get back to work. Oh no, 24 hours. It's not a big deal for me. Not a big deal for me and people like me, but it's a big deal to my brother. Because he'll be on the toilet for a good couple days and not be able to move. So that's not doable. So People are going to be going around not wearing a mask in public in a time like this. If you are able to handle illnesses, you need to be conscious of people that are not able to handle illnesses. That is incredibly selfish. Incredibly. Do you have any idea the damage that you are doing to people? It's like, oh well, I don't have it. It's not happening to anyone I know, so it doesn't fucking matter. It's like, get over yourself. You're not that important. What is wrong with you? Who are you to think that you are so more important to other, so more important than others? Get over yourself, seriously. This is the same to people that think their opinion matters more than others. It's like, take an opinion and try to understand it. If you can't, then work through it. If you are unable to work through it, then drop it and move on to something else and try to think about it later. If you're unable to think about something, if you're unable to see through the eyes of another, if you're unable to walk in the shoes of another, then stop for a second. Think it through. Growing up, I was taught to be respectful towards others. Much of the time, I am reluctant to talk to anyone because I pay attention to what people are saying. I have to distract myself from what other people are saying sometimes. Sometimes I have to think real hard about what's being said. It's not an easy thing to do when you get so distracted so easily. I was never diagnosed with OCD or anything like that, or ADD or anything like that. I'm just not able to keep my attention on things for a certain amount of time. And certain things cause me to think about other things, which distract me even further. So I might have one of those. I might not. I might just have an overactive imagination. Regardless, when you're talking with someone that needs to be heard, or you need to say something, please remember that they want to be heard. And if they're speaking, yeah, maybe they want to be heard. And other people are speaking. Maybe other people need to learn that you need to be heard. They need to be heard. It's a give and take. People need to be heard, or they can never work through things. They can never talk about things if they can't be heard. Give people a chance. Give people a chance to talk about something if they have to. If they feel like they need to. It's like feeling and needing are two very different things. If someone feels like they have to talk about something, like feels like they need to talk something, let them talk about something and talk it through with them. Don't just get angry and dismiss everything that they're saying. Talk about it. Give them a chance to speak. And you have disagreements, then voice those disagreements after they said what they felt like they needed to say. It's like, I know it's kind of an oxymoron. It's like need and want are two different things. I may think I need another helping of chicken bacon ranch pizza, but let's face it, I don't. I weigh 280 pounds. I may think I want to say things that I know I shouldn't say based on social decorum. Not anything racist or anything, but just something that people don't want to hear rather than what they need to hear. Hey, if something racist, like, that's another thing entirely. It's like, we can talk statistics about certain groups of people some other time. Because that's not something that is needed to be seen unless that is what the topic needs. Unless that is what the topic describes. Like this certain topic, not really. Talk to one another. Talk it through. Don't just get mad. Don't just try to shout over one another. Don't just try to shout at someone and hope to get everything off your chest and not want to hear anything the other person wants to say. Because that doesn't help anyone. What does that help? Just shouting for the shouting's sake. It's just to get your frustration and pressure off of. Don't take it out on another person. Like if someone specific is shouting at you, is shouting in your face, and they won't stop no matter what you say, no matter how you try to calm them down, then it's okay to get, in my opinion, it's okay to get angry. It is okay to try to shout over them if they will not listen, if they will not stop for 1 second to listen to what you are saying. Like beginning of this video, I was talking about how I got an altercation with my brother. He was shouting about something that didn't need to be shouted about, just something that needed to be talked about. It's like, talk to me. Don't stop yelling in my face. It's like later, I tried to talk to him again about it. So I tried to talk calmly. Then I yelled about it. Then I grabbed him by his shirt, yelling at him. And I can't quite remember what I yelled. But I pushed him to his bed from his door and onto his bed and was yelling at him. I can't quite remember everything that I said. I can't quite remember most of the things that I said, but I know that I was angry. I was growling and yelling, and I wanted him to stop yelling. Stop yelling in my face. That I can understand that. That is something that is instinctual. That is something that is a flight or fight reflex. Something that someone is doing something that is driving you so fucking angry that you want to react, that you have to react. I don't know. But I I didn't hit him. I was conscious enough to know not to hit him. He's my brother. I love him. I would never do that. I was so damn mad that I grabbed him and pushed him onto his bed and held him there, pinning him to his bed. If that's something that doesn't even matter, it doesn't even matter, and yet we were yelling about it. It was so stupid. Oh well. I like to talk things out logically, and if it needs be, emotionally. But if it's emotional, I will make sure that I'm giving my opinion about it, not just saying that my opinion is fact. Because like it's an opinion, it's not fact. It's based on my own sense of morality and whatnot. What I think should be right, not what I think is, and not what is right, but what I think should be right. You know what I mean? So if anyone has any problems, if anyone has something to talk about, don't be afraid to send me a message. I'd be more than happy to talk to anyone about it, about anything. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how controversial, doesn't matter how insulting it is, don't matter how opinionated it is. I will talk about it. I will talk about it in the most reasonable sense that I can. If emotion is necessary to talk about it, then I will do so. If you have stayed with me this long to listen to this, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful evening, a wonderful morning, a wonderful day. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful life, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from. Goodbye.